Hello, and thank you for watching The Right Change. I wanted to let you know that the author had some technical difficulties with her internet speed, which caused glitches and issues with the video. However, her audio worked just fine. And because we believe she has a powerful story, we decided to go ahead and go through with the video anyway. Please forgive the video issues. Enjoy the interview.
Are you an independent author with an incredible story to share? Are you afraid your book will get lost in a sea of books? True Vine Publishing Company can help you stand out. We're not just a publishing service, we're your partner in success. We provide personalized marketing strategies and eye-catching covers that will captivate your audience. We will build your author platform and connect with your readers. We have helped countless authors achieve success, and we can help you too. Break free from the shadows. Take control of your publishing journey and make your mark. Visit TrueVinePublishing.com or call 615-44-BOOKS to schedule a consultation.
Hello, this is Timothy Bond with True Vine Publishing Company, and you're watching the next episode of The Right Change, where our guest today is Linda Tumelo, author of How I Kept My Self-Worth. Hello, Miss Tumelo. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing great. And I want to first thank you for allowing me to talk about my book. So I want to first say that.
Absolutely. And I want to thank you. I want to thank you for the opportunity to help you bring this book into reality. So I'm excited as well.
Great.
So first, I want to give you just a little opportunity to tell the world, who is Linda Tumelo?
Well, now I'm a published author.
There we go. Yes.
Well, my ministry is working with children to build children's self-esteem and confidence.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Making Dreams Come True for Kids.
Mm-hmm.
I have different activities. One of the activities, etiquette workshops and fashion shows. A lot of people look at, just fashion shows as something fun, but it's a little bit more than just a fashion show. When you teach kids how you build up kids' confidence and make them feel good about themselves. When they walk down that runway, they hold their head up high and they have confidence in themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have confidence in yourself, because if you don't, if you have low self-esteem, like I did at one time, you will be taken advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to. I'm really. That's why I'm really passionate about building up kids' confidence and self-esteem, so they won't be abused. They are able, with confidence, they're able to fight back. Mm-hmm. and think highly of themselves. Because one of the things that children that has low self-esteem don't think they're worthy. Mm-hmm. And they allow themselves to be taken advantage of and abused. But with high self-esteem and confidence in yourself, you can prevent yourself from being taken advantage of. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the things I about my mentoring program is building up kids' self-esteem and teaching kids good manners. It's a good ministry, and it was going pretty well before the pandemic, but I'm trying to build it back up, and because it was really helping a lot of kids from low-income communities. But I wanted to write this book. This book is about, it's a personal story that will teach you how to heal from childhood trauma. Mm-hmm. And what motivated me to write my book is to tell my stories. When I tried to speak up about my childhood trauma, my family resulted into gaslighting and bullying, aggression to silence my voice. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to stand firm in telling my story, because I realized that telling my story would help me in my own healing and inspire others in their healing.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Now, I know this story, your book goes all the way back to childhood. Tell us about your evolution from dealing with the traumas that you dealt with and when you started to heal and develop the principles that you came up in this book?
Well, actually, I'm still healing from childhood trauma,
Mm-hmm.
but writing a book has really helped me to really face some of the things that I was dealing with,
Mm-hmm.
and not because I had repressed memories for so many years. So it felt so good to really to speak up about my childhood abuse and to be able to tell my story.
Mm-hmm.
So that has helped me a lot in my healing.
Mm-hmm. Was it hard making that decision to expose and share these deep traumas through a book?
Oh, of course it was. Well, it was really hard because I had to expose a lot of things that happened in my family. And of course, family don't want you to expose things that happen in the family. So you have a lot of families that's not going to approve of you writing a book
Mm-hmm.
or telling your story.
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty hard. And it was really hard uh, really remembering those childhood traumas. That was really difficult
Mm-hmm.
to start remembering things that happen in your life.
How'd you get through it? I know when I work with authors, and sometimes they kind of get to a point where they're trying to keep some things to themselves. They don't want to release the information because they don't really want to deal with the pain that comes with it. How did you, all by yourself, overcome that?
Well, I think what really made me want to tell my story is having family members trying to silence me. That made me want to tell my story even more.
Mm,
Uh, just having someone to silence your voice
mm-hmm.
and tell you to be quiet, don't say that, we don't talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
It just made me want to tell my story even more,
Mm-hmm.
uh, because I don't think you should. Uh, to me, telling your story is part of your healing, and your family should want you to heal. But
Mm-hmm.
of course, family cares more about reputation and what people would think,
Mm-hmm.
uh, as opposed to you healing.
Mm-hmm.
So that just really motivated me more into to tell my story. It was hard. It was really hard and very difficult. And I didn't want to expose my family business, things that happen in my family. But if you tell your story, you have to tell some things that happen in your family,
Yeah.
and that's a part of telling your story.
Right. You can't avoid that.
You can't, no, you cannot avoid that. So if you want to tell the truth, you have to expose some things,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just a part of it.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to talk in depth about some of the traumas that you deal with in the book, or if there's some young ladies watching now, what are some of the areas that you touch on in the book that you feel would
Well, one of the things I really want to focus on is uh, I believe my mother was suffering with narcissistic personality disorder.
mm-hmm.
And it's just not enough focus is put on that because a lot of people don't see it as a mental disorder.
Mm-hmm.
And, and I believe my mother was suffering from that because she couldn't really connect with her children and she couldn't protect us from abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I just want to, if I think if more people would talk about narcissistic personality disorder, they can see it within themselves and they can get help, and other people can see it in relationships that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of mothers with that disorder are raising children,
Mm-hmm.
and anytime you living with a person with that disorder, lives will be destroyed. Trust me.
Yeah, that's very interesting. You often see people who come up in a situation and they succumb to it, right? And if they're raised by abusive people or they're
Right,
in abusive relationships, then they abuse, right? The whole saying that hurt people hurt people. Uh,
right.
did you deal with kind of moving into that demeanor of being narcissistic? I know you said by recognizing it, people are able to overcome it. Did you deal with that, or did you just from the beginning go the opposite way?
You know what? I often ask myself that how did I have the need to be better than bitter?
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't really know why some people are bitter and some wants to be better. You know, I can't answer that question. I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have some people would take their bad experience and want to be better, but some people take their bad experience and want to hurt others to feel more powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we just found your next book.
What is that?
To be better than bitter. I like that. I like
Right,
that
right, right, right.
title.
And I just don't know. I'm just so grateful that I chose to want to embrace people. I have so much compassion for people that, mainly children that's been abused. I have so much compassion because I know how it feels to be abused and mistreated. And I have so much compassion. But I have some family members that was abused actually are just the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
They find more power in trying to hurt you to make themselves feel bigger and powerful.
Yeah.
So they try to inflict pain on others,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just the opposite. I
Mm-hmm.
just have so much compassion, mainly for children.
Yeah.
Um,
I think
but
I think you're right. It's I would say the grace of God, because naturally it would seem that somebody who's hurt would get angry, would get bitter,
right,
would kind of move into the same direction that some, and embrace what they actually hate. And then there's some people, they just choose the opposite.
I
And
know, and it's really hard to explain why some people go different ways, handle it in different ways. I can't explain it, to be honest with you. I
mm,
just don't know.
mhm,
Uh, I think if you are bitter, you have to talk to yourself and convince yourself that's just not the right way to go. If
right,
you are bitter,
right.
you have to choose to be better
Hmm.
if you are bitter. But I'm just a compassionate person, and I chose to be better. I
Hmm.
chose, one of the reasons I wanted to write this book, because my book touched on a lot of different topics. I wanted to write the book. One of the reasons is to help others. Hopefully, my book would inspire others and help someone else.
Hmm.
But
Have you had the opportunity to get feedback from anyone who has read it?
yeah, just one person I've gotten feedback where, one of the topics I talk about in my book is a family conflict. And
Hmm.
he said some of the things that I did to deal with my family conflict has helped him to make decisions
Hmm.
about uh, his family and the conflicts he's having with his family.
Hmm.
So I was really, really happy about hearing that,
That's
because I
great.
said if this book would help one person, it was
Right.
worth it.
Right.
But
Um,
going back to like I was talking about, I want to really focus on narcissistic personality disorder, and a
mhm.
lot of people don't really see it as a mental disorder. But one of the traits of a person with narcissistic personality disorder is lack of empathy.
Mhm.
And neuroscientists identify specific brain areas known as the, trying to think of the word, supramarginal gyrus. I think that's how you pronounce it. That's linked to empathy. And that part of the brain plays a central role in controlling empathy towards other people. And
Mhm.
when that part of the brain is not working properly, or when individuals have to make very quick judgments, empathy becomes severely limited.
Wow.
So when you have lack of empathy, oh my God, you can't connect with people. You cannot put yourself in another person's place and have compassion for that person.
Mhm.
You
Wow.
just can't.
Yeah. You know, it definitely sounds like you've done your studying on this. So that, I mean, we're not.
Oh, yes, I had to. When I was writing my book, I had to do a lot of study on this because growing up, even as a child, I knew there was something not right with my mother. I just couldn't being a child, I couldn't put my finger on what was wrong.
Mhm.
It's not until, I hope I don't offend anyone by saying this, someone said President Trump was a narcissist.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that's what made me start researching narcissistic personality disorder.
Mhm.
And when I start researching it, I said, oh my God, that's what's wrong with my mother.
Wow. Wow.
All the traits I mean, was there.
Mhm.
And but I didn't know as a child what was wrong, but my mother just could not connect with her children. And it's challenging for most people to accept the idea that a mother may be incapable of loving and nurturing her own children.
Mhm.
But my mother did not protect us, and she was not in tune with her children's emotions, putting her needs above her children.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
she could not understand their experiences and respond with compassion.
Mhm.
That was the thing. My mother couldn't respond with compassion. She was able to provide for her children, which was so strange to me because my mother was able to provide. We never did without food. We had place to live and clothes to wear, but she was not very nurturing. She knew of abuse, even sexual abuse in my family, but did nothing.
Mhm.
She did absolutely nothing to protect her children. Even in the situation when my brother was abusive and he tried to actually murder my younger brother, and
Yeah.
she knew he was disturbed.
Mhm.
I just don't understand it. My mother knew my brother was disturbed, but she did nothing to protect her other children from him.
I
And
saw
so he
that.
continued to abuse us.
Yeah, I saw that in the book, and I was like, wow, this
Uh,
is, yeah.
it just, once I started remembering things that happened in my childhood, I, it's hard to believe it. It's hard to understand how my little brother, probably was 5 years old, had to suffer abuse from my older brother.
Mm-hmm.
And the one he tried to murder, I just can't imagine after he tried to murder him and my mother kept him in the house and the fear that he must have had. Now that brother is deceased now,
Mm-hmm.
but I just can't imagine the fear he must have had living, had to continue to live with the brother that tried to murder him.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
You made an interesting statement. You said when you started to remember, had you suppressed a lot of
I
these?
repressed memories for 40 years.
Wow.
That's how long I had repressed memories.
Mm.
And what happened to me by me getting pregnant, I was only 15, and I consider it is statutory rape because when a man has sex with a child under 17, it's considered statutory rape. It doesn't matter if she agrees to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's still considered statutory rape.
Mm-hmm.
But when your own mother sets you up to be in that position, I blocked that out for 40 years. It's not until my daughter's father passed away that those memories resurfaced.
Mm. Wow.
And I said, oh my God, I could not believe, did my mother really do that to me? So I confronted her.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, she made herself a victim because that's one of the traits of a narcissist.
Right, right.
They will not admit to no wrong. They
Mm-hmm.
pretend to be the victim.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, I repress those memories and sometimes you have repressed memories and sometimes you don't really know you have a feeling something has happened in your childhood, but you
Right,
don't really know what it is
right.
because those memories are repressed. but mine resurfaced.
Right.
And I'm gonna tell you, when repressed memories resurface, it's like it happened yesterday.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's so clear. And the hurt and the pain you felt years ago, you feel at that present moment when those repressed memories resurface.
Yeah.
So I hope my book would be able to help a lot of people. And I hope my book would be able to help people that have memories of their childhood, because I know family members want you to be quiet, don't say anything, but you got to stand your ground. You got to speak your truth. You got to care about you and your healing. You can't allow no one to silence you.
Yeah.
And
If
that's why I hope, I know my book would be so helpful to so many people. I just hope people would just see the value in it and read it. I mean, I've been putting it out there, and so I'm hoping people would read my book, because what I went through and what I was able to come to go through what I went through, and I've been able to come through what I went through and keep my self-worth. I mean, I don't know how I was able to do it, but I was able to stay strong and keep my faith, and just with all the beat downs I had to go through, I'm still standing. I don't know how I'm still standing, because I've been beat down by my father, my mother, my siblings, and my own daughter. But I'm still standing. And now, don't get me wrong, it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy to be able to rise up from that. But I was able to do it.
Amazing.
And my book really talks about how you can do it.
I want to close the conversation now, or the interview out, with this question. If you had 3 things to help someone who is in this beginning phase of the journey to come out of trauma and to find that self-worth and to find that that healing, what 3 things would you encourage them to do?
Number one, you have to value yourself. You have to think highly of yourself. And no matter how much you've been beat down, and how people, it doesn't matter, the people that's around you are beating you down, you have to have self-worth. You have to have faith, and you never ever give up, because when you give up, nothing's going to change. You're never going to heal if you give up. No matter how hard things get, you have to keep going. You have to keep the faith and never give up. But you got to think yourself as worthy. You have to have that self-worth to say, I'm somebody. Doesn't matter what you think of me. And I don't know, for some reason, I've been like that even during my childhood. When my father was telling me, oh, you ugly, you this and that, I would look in the mirror and say, no, I'm not.
Really?
Even as a child, I had that. It was just that one moment I had low self-esteem. I had one moment of low self-esteem, but most of my life, even being beat down by the people you think that should be loving you, showing you love, I was able to rise up and say, I'm somebody. I'm somebody. But you got to think that you are worthy first.
That is amazing. I am so glad we got a chance to talk about this book. I think people, you all need to get this book. Like this video, subscribe, share this video. Let's get the word out about Linda Tumelo and her book, How I Kept My Self-Worth. Miss Linda, are there any ways people can get in contact with you? Social media pages, emails? How can people get in contact with you?
My email address is makingdreamscometrue4kids@yahoo.com. You can contact me through my email address.
Ms. Tumelo, I really appreciate this opportunity, and thank you for being a guest, and you have a wonderful day.
Okay, thank you too, and thank you for allowing me to tell my story. Okay, you have a great day.
All right.
Bye-bye.